Good afternoon, dear televiewers, and welcome to La Télévision du Monde. We are broadcasting live from our studios here in Yaoundé, and the frequency definitely on Canal Sat is 308. That's exactly where you should be tuning in to get to us. It's Voice It's another time for us to raise our voices for or against anything that is actually talked about in our nation today, and that is making news, of course, why not during the week or across the nation. And for the cause, we should be having two guests today, and three of them, certainly the other guest is going to be joining us in a very short while. We are going to be interested in the things that actually are marking our society today. One of them is the kind of turmoil that is going on in certain political parties. What happens and where is it taking us to? Definitely, we are definitely going to get to the root of it with the analysis of the people that we are having here, representing several political unities and parties that are going to be having their own point of views. Just after this little transition, we shall be introducing our guests. Thank you and welcome once again. A lady in this program for the very first time, because Voice It has been existing for a couple of months, and it's the first time I'm having a lady. Is with such pleasure, because woman, that's what they always say, right? Okay, good. Now I love to see women who are involved in politics and who are bold enough to put their voices and to say something when it comes to the issues that are concerning our country. And that's the reason why I'm going to introduce to you right now the lady representing the PCRN party here. She's called Patty Bebe. She just joined us this afternoon. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Flora. Good afternoon to the co-panelists. Good afternoon to your millions of followers and millions of viewers of LTM. I'm very honored to be here today to defend the ideology of our party and, of course, analyze and talk about what's happening right now in our country and the many challenges that we have to face from now to the future.
I think the future is laid in the hands of women, of course. We are the leaders of tomorrow, definitely. I'm not saying that this is a women empowerment something, but I just want to say that I love to get women's voices in anything that has to do with politics, and women should be more and more involved in politics. Definitely, I will have to remind you all that with the help of Ramses Njoko, who is at the dashboard, we are going to be having the number 699-619-293. That's in case you have something to say. Don't call the number. You are just going to have to send a message if you want to give your point of view about what we are talking about today. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritties of what we're going to talk about today, let's introduce the gentleman that we have on my right side, Mr. Kaigamba Ismail, who is representing Maurice Kamto's party, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. Mr. Kaigamba, thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you for having me, Mrs. Flora. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time to be convening to such a great program, and I'm very proud to be here. And yeah, I would like to thank your million viewers who are watching us right now, and also my fellow militants who are watching us now. And yeah, they asked me to be quite gentle to my panelists, and I told them that no, we are not going to fight, we are just going to share ideas. And yeah.
Are you really serious that because it's a woman by your side that you're not going to have her to deal with?
No, I've been always gentle to women, so I'm very proud to have her around.
Okay. Yeah. And for the cause, we are going to get straight into the matter. Definitely, we are going to certainly have a report within the course of time, but let's start already right now, because there's so much movement in political parties in Cameroon. Of course, let's remember also, first and foremost, yesterday, like an aside before we get into what we have to talk about today, I witnessed, not like day before yesterday, I witnessed something phenomenal. When I talk about women getting involved in politics and all that, it's something that was great. I mean, for me, it was really remarkable, because having a woman being the successor of Nijan Frundi is something quite remarkable. with all the boys that he has in his family, he decided to choose his girl child to be his successor. And everybody is like asking, everybody's astounded, everybody's asking questions like, why was it supposed to be Dr. Tina Lumfrundi chosen as the successor of her father?
I would like to, share your joys. I'm very happy to, experience such a situation in our country. We are in a country where tradition is very, traditions are not favoring women, as far as succeeding their relatives are concerned. So I can only feel happy for her and for the family. I think the family is highly it's understanding the importance of involving women in this kind of stuff. So I'm very proud, not only for her but for the entire family.
Yeah. In the course of the years, women have been encouraged to get more and more involved in politics, and I think that Patti Bebe right here is not going to say the contrary, because I realize that women getting more involved in politics makes it look even more credible, because it gives the impression that women are not supposed to only be in that position that is only supposed to be in the kitchen. Women also have to have a say in the happenings of our country and anything that has to do with the bien-être of our country. Let me use a little bit of French. It feels good that way. So how do you feel knowing that it's a lady that is supposed to be the successor of Nijan Fundi, the phenomenal Nijan Fundi that paved the way into multipartism in Cameroon today, that we are enjoying, of course?
First of all, I would like to say that in the CPNR, we believe that when people decide for you without you, they decide against you. Yeah. So women have to understand that if we continue letting men deciding for us, they are deciding against us. Now about Tina's succession at the SDF, I congratulate her. It's a great move. But
she's actually succeeding as the head of the family.
At the head of the family.
So she has not yet declared. She says she's a novice when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
Now, because I asked her personally the question to know exactly, is she going to be able to stand the challenge of replacing her father in that political position as the chairman of...
So this is where I wanted to get, is like, I'm really happy for her. Because we have to understand that in our countries, in our civilization, African civilization, we were matriarchal first. Yeah. We weren't patriarchal. Patriarchal came when the religions and colonization came in. And we tend to forget that. And I think with that of Tina succeeding to her father, it brings back the discussion on the table. What is the women position in our society? We have to question ourselves, and we have to revise and maybe break what we learned, which was not intrinsically from our civilization, to place the lady again where she belongs. So I think it's a great challenge for her, and I know women are good leaders. Yeah. Into the families, into political parties, into state. They are great leaders because they think first about the welfare of the community they are supposed to lead.
Exactly.
So it's a great thing. Now about the political movement, I don't think she will definitely, I cannot even advise.
She's a medical doctor, so
I cannot advise her to succeed to her father as the head of the party, because our party are not, they have founding fathers. But it doesn't mean the party belongs to family.
Absolutely.
And I guess Tina will be able to do that difference.
Exactly. I guess she's going to be able to do that difference because she already does it. She clearly indicated that she is a medical doctor. She's from a very renowned university in Georgia, United States of America, and she is a pediatrician. Now, getting into politics is something that might be just something that maybe she learned from her father, but she said, and she was very clear, that she's a novice when it comes to politics, and she's ready to learn. If at all in the days ahead she's going to get into politics, that might be something for the future. But at the same time, she says she's a good learner. So if at all it happens, she says her father left a very good team to lead the party at the moment, the Social Democratic Front Party. So
yeah, I would like to add something. Yeah. Okay. I think this is a good example that should be replicated, by other traditions. I don't know if in their traditions women are allowed, to succeed to their parents, but if that's it's the case, other traditions like those, in the North regions, they should, follow such an example and provide women with, such opportunities, and like that we'll see if women are able, to make it true. Sometimes there are some stereotypes qualifying, women as unable to do anything. Their place is in the kitchen, and they don't even have the right to go to school. So I think this is a very good example, and it should be followed, by other traditions.
Well, I think that, like she said a short while ago, we have been a very patriarchal society in Africa for quite a good number of ages. Today we see more and more women succeeding their fathers. Even in my family, we have female successors. Like, seriously, I can say that for sure. Because of the reason, in fact, the reason why that explains that is that whenever somebody is about going or about dying and he knows that he has to leave his will, he sees exactly the nature of each and every one of his children, which one is more responsible. You're not going to take a child, excuse me, that seems to be a lunatic or that is not responsible enough to be the person that is going to continue your lineage and continue leading the affairs of your family. You are better placed when you take even a girl child who has shown proof to be responsible, to be the kind of person that gathers people around, to be the kind of person that can take right decisions and that responsibly would lead a family. There we are having images right now of the presentation of Dr. Tina Fundi at his Kolfulu residence here in Yaoundé, and she was being presented by her family members right there. She is presented there as a successor of Nijan Fundi, who passed away and who was buried in Bamenda, in his homeland, Baba too, recently. And she happily said to us that, well, she is ready for the challenge. It doesn't matter how hard it's going to be, but she knows for sure that all the party scribes of the SDF are going to lead her to the right path. So, Patty, what would you have to say about that?
I think
you see a very young lady who is a medical doctor already and who is sure about herself.
I think people, we should not forget that Nijan Fundi is a brand.
Yeah,
It's a brand first, and this brand has to survive him.
yeah.
So I think he took all the time to choose the right person to continue leading that brand, because we should never forget Nijan Fundi, the chairman, is a brand for Cameroon.
I was so elated because when she was coming in, everybody was like, Papa, ele, ya, too. It's like Nijan Fundi is gone, Nijan Fundi is back.
Exactly.
But this time around in the form of a woman.
So she won't only defend the legacy of her father here, but she will also defend it internationally, because he was known internationally for his fight for freedom, for multipartism, for all the aspiration that Cameroonians are looking for. So I think he didn't make a mistake. He knew why he chose Dr. Tina to be the success, to be the leader of his family.
The multipartism that we are enjoying today, of course, that's the reason why we have many political unities that are existing today, and we can defend our ideas. Everybody comes up with a project, of course. In the year 2018, the last elections, I actually saw the project that was presented by your party that was having another name at that time. I quite remember. I was of the Now movement. Well, I don't say say something about my political affiliation, but I know, of course, that the CPDM won the elections and the CRM contested the elections. What is happening in the various formations of our parties today? It is going to be the next topic, or the very first topic that we're going to handle today in this program. What future for the new generation of politics in Cameroon? That's exactly what we're going to have. Let's have a little transition and we shall be back to grab the next and the first topic of the day. Pardon. We're back in the studio, and thank you for joining us. If you are just joining us right now, thank you for following us from the four corners of Cameroon. Definitely, we know that Bamenda is glued, we know that Kumba is glued, we know Yaoundé is glued. We are broadcasting live from our studios here in Santa Barbara, Yaoundé, and definitely we are also broadcasting from all over the world because we are on satellite and we are talking politics today. What future for the new generation of political parties or political formations in Cameroon today? Is it good to know that the transition is going to be good, handed from the younger generation, from the older generation to the younger one, and what stakes are going to be in place? Now we start first of all with the lady right here by my side. What do you think actually is the future of Cameroon's politics when it comes to the younger generation?
I think the future of Cameroon party will be what the young generation want, because we cannot be imposed on what it's gonna be. We have ideas, we have young leaders, and we have the possibility to change the face of the Cameroonian political environment. So I will speak on behalf of my party, the CPNR. We are going into a transition in our country when it comes to political environment and the debate and everything. That we know that we cannot take the genes of the old elders to bring in the behavior of the young generation.
Absolutely.
Because it is not necessary.
If we want a change.
The fight, the quarrels, the disunity and everything, we need to think first about what is the legacy we want to build for our generation and the next generation. It's not about the people of the past, how I usually call them. They made their life.
You call them the people of the past?
Exactly.
That's impressive.
They made their life, they have their experience. Some of them are good elders, some of them are bad elders. We need to learn from the good example, so we can gain experience to bring forward in what we are planning to do. For the CPNR, we are going into a congress in December. Is a way to carry our party and as a leader of democracy within Cameroon, because there are not a lot of parties that are organizing congress. So we have a congress, it's an ordinary congress where even the president will be challenged. And this is what is called democracy, because you cannot speak about democracy
and I'll give a chance to the younger people
at the national level, and you don't apply it within your party, within an organization. Any organization that is responsible must be able to organize congress, must be able to organize election, so everybody has the chance to propose a deal to the militant, to the comrade, and be elected if it is a satisfying deal. So we need to learn from the mistakes of the elders, so we don't follow the same path, because this is the only thing that will guarantee us stability, peace, and of course sustainable development.
Of course, thank you very much, Pati Bebe, for that analysis. I guess right now that should be the question that I'm going to ask right now to the representative of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement right now. We know there's so much turmoil within your party recently. We know of the movements going on. We know about the suspensions recently, and we know about the definite exclusions that have happened in your party recently. The case study of Barrister Tampu Richard, for example.
As you have witnessed some exclusions from my party, and I would tell you that it's a proof that my party is dynamic. Things are moving forward, and I will also tell you that my party is a responsible party. It's well organized. There are organs, independent organs, which functions according to our texts, and we encourage people to join us at the CRM party, but we do not allow people to try to destabilize us internally. That would not happen, because
what do you call destabilizing? Is it the fact that somebody who is of the younger generation says, of course, that he wants to stand as a possible
I will send
replacements to the president of your party. Does that sound like a problem?
It doesn't sound like a problem. We encourage young people, to challenge anyone, which declares himself, candidate. My president hasn't yet declared himself candidate. Do you agree with me? Okay, so if you wanna, run for the presidency, you don't have to, mess everything. You don't have to, behave adopt an anti-party attitude. You have to respect text. Being candidate does not, spare you, from respecting the text and other rules of the party. So this is the reason why I told you at the beginning that we are a responsible party, a well-organized party, and if you want, to advocate for the CRM, you have to respect, the text. This is how it works at the CRM. So I will tell you that I'm certain at every time that I, learn from, I hear from, explosions. It makes me, feel sad. But there's something bigger than my emotion, It's the party's interest. The party interest. CRM today is involved, a kind of, I will tell you, last hope for Cameroonian. We are a party which is being considered as, the sole, a way to a better Cameroon, to a different Cameroon, a democratic Cameroon, a prosperous Cameroon, and we can allow individuals, to come and destroy what many people have been constructing so far. We cannot allow people to play with that thing, which led some people to lose their lives, to lose their liberty, to lose their freedom. Some of our friends, he is also a young, political friend, a young guy, very brilliant man, who is jailed. He's at Kondenge, Bibunisak. This is a young guy who has done nothing, who has just thought, about marching, and he got arrested. He's sentenced, for 7 years for having done anything at all. So
okay, what do you have to say about those party members of the CRM that were excluded, or that have recently been excluded, but that have in their history and their past stories like having fought seriously for the image of the party? I'm talking about Barrister Ndoki Michelle, who today has been put aside despite all that she went through as a woman. She went through a lot. She was even jailed, and she stood firm. She was a lady that was seen on TV at the Constitutional Council defending your party and its ideologies, but today she has been set aside because per se she does not respect the party's ideologies. Exactly the reasons that are given for the exclusion recently of Metrotan.
Does that mean she is allowed to do anything she wants for having done all those? Are you preaching by examples? And let me tell you something first. For me, she has not been put aside. She put herself aside. When you develop a certain bad conduct or anti-party attitude, you're putting yourself aside. You're excluding yourself. You're dismissing yourself. So for those who didn't want to destabilize the party, when they failed that they are no more interested, they didn't have input to bring to the table, they quit the party. And if you quit the party by yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. So this is what we are telling to those who want to destroy us. You will never do that. The government has not been able to do that. It's not individuals who achieve such a bad and shameful mission.
Okay, your point of view has been retained. Well, I guess the televiewers watching us from all over the world are getting what you're saying. Now, this takes us to in the introduction of our next panelist, who just joined us right now from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, Mr. Yakubu Njigam. Thank you for joining us, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon to my co-panelists, and good afternoon to all the viewers of LTM Television. It is a pleasure for me being here on your program once again in order to represent my political party, the CPDM. I also seize the opportunity to greet the millions of our militants who are always watching us and following the ideology of our political party.
Now, we have been talking about, just like before you joined us right now, about the kind of movements taking place within political parties recently and the various formations. The new generation is coming up strong, and definitely the future of Cameroon is going to be in the hands of a younger generation, whether we like it or not. So what do you think about the welfare right now of this generation, and how do you see it moving? We can take like some case studies. You heard us talking a short while ago about the CRM party. We know about what's going on at the other parties that are represented right here. So what would you say?
Fortunately for us in the CPDM, we have our national president, Pobia, during the renewing of our basic organs, brought in various amendments which was an obligation to have youths in top position of our party. That is why you will see since 2020, when we did the last when we renewed our basic organs, a lot of youths and women emerged in the bigger positions in our political party, meaning that in our own party we don't believe like others that maybe we are going to create a new world made up of only youths. No, we think that it is a mixture to build up our country.
Because we need experience.
We need, of course, we need experience. We cannot create a Cameroon which is totally governed by youths. Or no, it is a mixture of all everybody in the society that will bring up a stronger Cameroon, and that is why during the renewing of our basic organs, like I was saying, it was an obligation that 30% of all the executive members of the sections and the subsections were youths. That is, when I say youths, that is age from 15 to 35, as per our the text of our the basic text of our party.
Definitely, I guess that you guys, like in the days ahead, would love to get more involved, not only the younger people, like the younger generation, the youth, but also women. That's the reason why I'm happy today to have a lady here on set, Pati Bebe, who is with us today. We have been talking about the case study of the CRN party and the movements going on within the party, the exclusions and all that. Now, is that supposed to be an issue that we are talking about? Is that supposed to be an example that should be emulated or that should be copied by other people? Because definitely nobody wants to have the idea, for example, that because you want to challenge a government that is ruling right now, you should be like trying to run down other people to do that. That's the impression that some people have. I'm going to have to meet you to talk about that.
I would not comment what is happening in their party, because I don't comment internal decisions. They know why they have taken that decision. They know what is happening there. We are outside and we don't really have all the pieces to really comment. But I would say it's regrettable that generally in many parties they tend to take down women that have a voice.
Yeah.
And I think it's something cultural in Cameroon. They don't like women that carry a voice. In every party, you will see in all the organs there are less women that are represented in leading position, while in the whole world we are talking about equity or equality. I don't like talking about equality because it's something that is not really possible.
Exactly.
I talk more about equity. It means giving
Africans, it will never be possible.
Means giving to the people that have the same capacity, the same chances. And this doesn't happen in political organization in Cameroon too much. Well, but I'm proud to be in a party where this is really a showcase. Like the CPNR is a party where you will find almost equal representation. But also there is a problem that we should not forget, is about the fact that women do not tend to take the leading. So no matter what we will say, if you don't stand and you don't go for what you aspire, they will not come and pull you from your house.
Exactly.
So women have to understand that if they want their voice to be heard, they need to take the seat around the table. And if some people do not let them sit around the table, they have to create their own table or bring their own chair.
Absolutely.
This is something that we have to sensitize our women population, because it's really important that as much as possible women get into political organization. I usually remind people that in Cameroon we are 52.3% of women.
Exactly.
You know, in the population. So we are the majority. How a majority of the population can let minority lead them is not understandable. Well, there are many factors. It's cultural factors, because women always depend on men. Or they always depend on what the men will say. They like to be validated. This is probably because the cultural basement, but also the colonialism. Because when foreigners came in our country, they gave the lead to men, and they tend to put women like
in the back seat.
In the back seat, they don't have any. They have no say, and this can change, because today we are free. I can say we have more possibility of expressing our need, expressing our aspiration, and following our dreams than our grandmother and mother 60 years ago. So it is the responsibility of Cameroonian women to stand and go for what they aspire for. So we can't say the men will just stand and give us the seat. We need to fight for, because when you fight for freedom, you need to go hard even on the men, but not with disrespect, because we are some kind of entities that have to work together. Absolutely. Not one behind another, but together, step by step, close to each other. And this is the only way we will be able to build a society that look into more equity, and where women have something to say and they will stand for what they are defending. But also, I will like to say that we also notice, even in the school program, you know, how women are let aside. When you go, for example, to the École Normale, you know, you have everybody following the same program and everything. But when it comes to appoint the teachers, basically they take the bigger group of women and they put to the primary school or the maternal level, and the men are the one that has to go to
the higher institutions.
So it's kind of institutionalized. It's a kind of institutionalized segregation to women. But if you don't stand for and you don't engage yourself in political party or association or whatever citizen association, you will not have the possibility to say and to make people listen to what you aspire to.
I think female leadership is something that we are aspiring, and slowly we shall get there. Slowly but surely, women are going to be leading. That's exactly what we wish for all the ladies out there watching us and listening to us, because female leadership is something really important. I see you from the CPDM trying to say something, and I would love to know if at all your political party is giving chances to women to stand out.
Yes, Madam.
Are you empowering women in your way?
Madam Frida, I would like here to give kudos to President Pobia, because when we look at the equality or equity she's talking about, Cameroon is one of the countries.
How many female ministers?
Please, when you try to make a comparative study in Africa, and you take the case of Cameroon, at least I don't know if there is any profession where you will be, or any concours, I don't know, competitive entrance where you will be put aside because you're a woman. I don't think so. And when you look at the level of, you go into certain classrooms, you even realize that there are more ladies than men. And the cases can be even in the army, the police forces, and etc. You will see that at a certain level there is even a type of discrimination. Yeah, but we will call that
like favoring women.
You like favoring women because you, Madam Frida, you even come to Madam Flora. Yes, you even come to understand to realize that when you go into the armed forces, those who go in as gendarmes or police officers, the women are there. But when you go up and look at the war fronts, you come to understand that at a certain level, you look at, like for instance, in the case of the war against Boko Haram, close to 3,400, something like that, Cameroonian uniformed men were killed. When you look at those figures, the ladies are not up to 50. You come to, even though we can take the case of the Northwest and look at the military, the uniform officers that have been killed, but you look at the figures, very few women are involved. It is because
Florence, that was horrendous.
only, yes, that is why you can go into the figures and you come to realize that at that certain level, the women in Cameroon cannot really, even though a lot is still to be done, has to be done, but globally, we should recognize that really the government has done a lot. You go to Economa, as you were taking an example, being it the higher Economa or the GTTC, that is government teacher training, you realize that a lot of women are there. And I think that the government, we should really give kudos and encourage them to do.
Mr. Kaigama?
Yes. I would like to say this to you and to our viewers, that as far as inclusion is concerned, my party, the CRM party, is promoting inclusion and diversity. Inclusion and diversity are one of our core values. And I would like to tell you that I'm from the Partner region and Adamawa region. I'm a young person, but I'm the leader, I'm the coordinator of YCRM at the Center 1 region. And I'm coming far from here, you see. And I will tell you that in our party, our president, Professor Maurice Kamto, has always been, very, very, careful about young people represented in the party, women represented in the party. This is the reason why you will see that we have a lot of women and young people at the CRM party, and they even have their own organs. There's a national bureau for youth, national bureau for women, and those organs are, functioning, independently. Maybe not too independently, but they are organs that have a lot of autonomy. And the same persons are associated to elders, and talking about the CRM, and they work together, and we understand ourselves. Sometimes young people think that elders do not get their political expressions. But at the CRM, our president is advising anytime that he has to say something about young people, he wants them to be associated. He wants them to engage. He's giving them opportunities. And I think it would be with the CRM party that you will have a Cameroon where we will have governors, women governors, and women, divisional officers, because we don't have governors. There are 10 governors in Cameroon, in 10 regions, but none,
no female
none is a woman. You see, and it's a shame. We need to, denounce that and to condemn such an attitude, such a discrimination against women and young people. So I'm for the inclusion and for the diversity, and my party have inclusion and diversity as core values, and I'm very proud of that. And I think those who are watching us today know where to go when they want a party where their voices will be heard and where they would be free. Free and encouraged, to express themselves. And yeah,
Madam
I just wanted to say something.
Okay, yeah, before
because he spoke about representation of women.
Yeah.
But when you take the environment, he just said it. Within the 10 region, there is not one woman like supermaire.
Yeah.
How do you explain that? When you take the National Assembly, okay, I will take an example because I live in Europe and I live here. I will take an example with a very small country, the Czech Republic. In the parliament, they have 24% of women. They are only 10 millions of population. 24% of women. In Cameroon, we have, I think, 32 or 37. but compared to 30 million, you see.
No, madam, that type of comparison is biased. You should compare African countries, please. You should compare.
No, I'm just bringing something on the table. When we take the army, do we have one woman as general?
No.
One. Give me the name of one woman.
But we see it elsewhere.
But since when women have been allowed to be in the army? Since 30, 40 years. Come on. Do you want to tell me that a woman cannot lead an army, a corps here? No. And when you take the ministry,
we have female
how many women are minister in strategical ministry in Cameroon?
Exactly.
Don't bring us this. I understand. We're not correct. We are discussing, but we have to discuss with fact, because science is about fact. I don't talk about propaganda. When you take big hospital, how many women are director? This is what we call representation.
Like reference hospitals.
It's about representation. We know that the government is trying to cope, because they also have pressure from outside, from the founders, the Fonds Monetaire and whatever. We will give you some help if you do this. And this is not what you call sovereignty. Sovereignty is about inclusion and the respect of the aspiration of all the social classes. So if you have to wait for a foreign state or a foreign organization to come and tell you, well, there is not equality here, no, this is not governing, this is leading. And in Cameroon, diriger, I usually say, diriger est différent de gouverner. For the moment, we are not governed, we are directed. And this has to change, because when we will be governed, we will take into account, and we will not having the langue de bois that some people are having in different party. We will look at the fact, we'll look at statistics, and we will act, because we're acting for the national interest. It's not for the party. It's for everybody. I don't care if it's from CPD.
It's not just about the integrity of women.
It's not about the party. It's about the nation. We are building a nation. And as young people, we have to see things different. Not only taking the word that have been said by the elders. We are not fighting the elders. We are not in a fight of generation. But we are here, we have to find the real middle and say, this thing has been going on, but it doesn't bring good result. We have to get into productivity. Managing, being as a head of state or a government of state is about managing. Yes. Managing the nation, managing people, and managing the asset you have. Exactly. And for the moment, the party that is leading or directing our country has failed in many options. Of course, not on all, we recognize that. But there are a lot of effort to do, because if they make effort, even political party will have to follow, because it's usually, basically, a country work with standard. What are the standards of Cameroon?
Exactly. And
in terms of inclusivity,
you just talked about the Cameroon people's
what are the standards?
Pati Bebe, just said right now, in the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, which is the party that is leading the country, like you said a short while ago, we don't quite see too many women represented in the assembly or whatever. How many female senators do we have, for example?
Madam,
that would take you exactly to what you had to say.
Madam Glover, what I wanted to say, was that our country is, let's say, 60 years old, something like that. Yes, or maybe a little bit. You cannot, if you want to compare the, because first of all, we should not forget that we are Africans, and we had our own cultures and traditions. We have Asians, which have their own culture and tradition. They have the place of the women in all those cultures. And then we now have Europeans, who have their own cultures and etc. Now, we are in a process of equality and inclusion. You cannot immediately be comparing a country like Cameroon with or a sub-Saharan country like Cameroon with the evolution that has been done in Spain and no, that will be with countries who are 1,000 years old. We compare a 60 years old country with them. That is why the example she took between Cameroon and I don't know which country in Europe was not a good example.
I want to say Czech Republic exists independently since 1989. So it's younger than Cameroon.
European nations have different civilizations, different cultures with Africans. Comparing Cameroon had it been, she took an example that maybe in Cameroon we have this, and in neighboring country like, I don't know, Nigeria, or I don't know, Chad, or these sub-Saharan countries, we are instead having this. At that time, the example, because they have almost Nigeria, Cameroon, it's almost the same culture, the same. Yet now we can make a comparative study that why is it that in almost 60 years old they have evolved. And then I'm not saying that the situation is we are looking for the optimum level, yes, but now 60 years after, when we do a balance sheet, I think that the evolutions and the results is not so bad. Madam Flora, coming back now to the CRM, the problem occurring in the CRM political party, even though we are not directly concerned, but I will say a word in it. I will call upon Cameroonians to be wise enough, because they are watching us, and I think at this time the political party came up very strongly in the presidential election of 2018, and then many people were duped, and many people did not see things clearly. But few years after, we have seen how people have been resigning. Big figures, Celestine Germain, even those who were there as Paul Eric Kinge, who supported that ideology, and etc. I would take examples till even the communication, their communication. I mean, it is not just happening. There is a fundamental reasons Cameroonians should, because if the top leaders who were in the party decided to quit that party, it means that there is something wrong, and Cameroonians should understand that, and so that they should not be duped any longer. The CPDM is the party who has been governing, and Cameroonians should know that the CPDM is the best political party for them. And
the CRM,
those are political parties who have been people. He has been vomited. He has been vomited, same as the CPRN. We saw it during the regional elections, where even in the Nyong and Kele division, where the party of Kabel Libi had more municipal council than the CPDM, we saw how that political party was vomited by the municipal councillors, and they voted for the CPDM. That is it. Those are signs. Those are signs that they are no more credible at all.
Okay.
Cameroon Renaissance Movement.
Yeah, you see, at the CIM we are educated, and whatever you say, we are not used to disrupting people who talk. Okay, and he said a lot of wrong things, and I will not waste my time commenting what he just said. He's trying, he's like distracting us, from the main topic, and I will not, fail. I will not be trapped. Yet again, Madam Flora, we value general interest. Okay. Yeah. We recognize what all those people, all those former, political friends have done for the party, but we can allow individuals to destroy the party. And again, I say, the CRM party is today the main hope of Cameroonians. There are a lot of Cameroonians who are still in the country because they believe that tomorrow will be a brighter day, because there is CRM that would fight for your interest. Somebody just told you that the CPDM party has a good balance sheet. It's the worst ever known in the in the world. Nowhere you will find a country with 60 years of independence going too wrong like Cameroon. You'll find that nowhere. And again, I said, when you try to analyze, what he called inclusion. When I talk about inclusion, I refer to inclusion of age, inclusion of gender. Not only gender, because inclusion of age, gender,
right now.
inclusion of there should be disabled people who should be considered in they should participate, in public affairs. They should be considered, be helped, to thrive. But it's not the case. Disabled people are abandoned to themselves. Children are abandoned to themselves. When you go, to a region like the Far North region, there are a lot of children who are abandoned because their parents can't afford, sending them to school. And why? Because not only because they don't have money or because the government is not helping them, but they are facing other challenges like climate change. I met a parent last year who told me that he cannot send his daughter to school just because he didn't, have his, he didn't have enough crops to sell, and then get money back from that and send his children, his daughter, to school. And that daughter is likely to get married at an early age, 13, 14, and it's not good. We are telling Cameroonians that should not be accepted in 21st century. We are a country.
I think that's kind of cultural something, and it happens
cultural.
mostly in your region, if I'm not mistaken.
Not only in our region, not only in the Far North region. You can find the same situation in the at the Mao region, in the North region, and even here at some mines in the East region. Yeah, even here in Yaoundé. There are a lot of people, a lot of children out there who have, who just, brought out to school just because their parents can afford, just schooling. And it's a shame. We must not accept that in 21st century. So I will not ask the government, because I know it can't do anything so far, because it doesn't have the will to do that. We have people, in the government who don't care about Cameroonians' life and Cameroonians' future. We are talking about young people today. Do you think that those people care about the future of young generation? No, they don't care. If somebody can embezzle thousands of billions for him, for his family and himself, do you think that that guy believes in the future? Or cares about future generation?
If CRM was to take power, would it make things different? Is a question that I'm trying to ask you honestly, we're not certainly going to have to talk about our second topic today, because this issue about the new generation replacing the old generation is taking us quite much time.
Please,
and I'm kind of loving the topic.
Just some
But I'd love to give her also the chance to say something.
Look at what we are doing today. You are militant, you want to mess everything up, we stop you. We tell you, you can't do that. And this is how we're going to rule this country. If you are a corrupt man or corrupt civil servant, we will not allow you to keep, corrupting people or accepting.
What do you have to say about this issue?
This
issue about people saying that your party leader, who has worked with the government in place, all of us know about that, seems to want to replace a government, but brings the same strategies that the government is using also. Like the kind of,
which are these strategies?
Repressive strategies that suddenly.
What do you mean by repression?
I see, because you can look at me.
Let us be clear and serious. When you say repressive measures, what do you mean by repression? We have never repressed anything. We are not those who are in power, actually. Those who govern this country are the friends of my
examples?
The example is that people want to disturb the party. They want to destabilize the party, and we are telling them we cannot allow you to do that.
Okay, Madam Pati Bebe.
Because I want to bring up something when he talked Nyoekele and whatever. Do you know that in 2020 we have been voted, the CPNR candidate have been voted in Nyoekele when they didn't have even one representative? Do you know that? When you talk,
which election was that?
Municipal and legislative. And when you talk about Nyoekele, let me tell you, ask to Gregoire Ouna what he went to do in Nyoekele. Then you will have the answer. You are such a corrupted party that, of course, when you have people, if you see the structure of our party, in 2020, we had to present people. So there were a lot of defection in other party that came into our party, and we needed to be
represented at that time. It was not yet a
strategical.
Yeah.
We were not organized. It was strategical to be represented. So those people have found themselves in our municipalities, and those people are that one, the one that has been corrupted by the Wahoma. I can prove, we have proofs. I don't want to get it, but what I want to say is that when you take a country like Cameroon, and you take me a party that say we have inclusion, we have this, when you see a country that has just been allowed by the FMI for 74 billion CFA, and you see one director of an organization, of an institution, asking to build his house for 2 billion, you have to question yourself.
Oh my God.
When you have that same man asking for a car for 150 million, you have to question that government and that party. When you have people that are having Olembe complex, after so many years that we are now going to face Majil, you have to question those management. When you have the road Douala Yaoundé, the highway, which has been here for more than 6 years, and we have 60 kilometers, you have to question the management of that party and the government. So the CPDM cannot come here and tell us you couldn't manage to have people elected. We are not sure we wanted to have that election. We had to compete, to be there, to be noticed, and we are organizing ourselves. You will not have that chance anymore. We can assure you. That's why we are going for our Congress, because we have reorganized our organization. You will not have a chance. And for that, I just talk to millions of followers here. Please stand up. Go on register to electoral list, because your card is your bullet. Your card is your bullet.
Absolutely.
You know, you see what is happening around. We can talk about Niger. Bazoum was elected, but he has been taken down because the election was fraudulent. And that will not happen in Cameroon if we are millions, let's say 11 millions of Cameroonians going to vote.
What is more than 11 million?
What is happening here? You see, since 92, when you look at the list that is published by Elekam, Onel or whatever, we don't cross 7 millions of people registered. Why? Your party must have to explain that to Cameroonians. Why? Because there is a program, there is a strategy of CPDM. They don't want us to cross a certain number. They don't want to produce voting card, because they don't want people to go to vote. But I will tell to Cameroonians, if you registered, keep your recipe, keep in mind your center of voting. The day of voting, stand up. If your name is not there, the election will not take place. And because if you have registered, you have the right to vote. They have the duty. Elekam has the duty to produce your voting card. If they don't, we will go to vote at that center, and they will let us vote. And if people will vote massively and control the vote, will check the vote to the counting and to the proclamation of vote, nobody, even God, will not change the election in this country, because CPNR is ready for that.
Amazing.
And
it's going to give me an opportunity to tell you guys that we are going to get out of the program.
Yes, madam.
But you are going to say something definitely before we get out.
Before getting out, I would like to say, us in the CPDM, we don't need those. We don't have any problem with the LACAM or whatsoever. We register our militants every day, and we have militants in all the 360 divisions, subdivisions of our country, and in all villages. The CPDM is the only political party which is represented in all the villages of Cameroon. That is why we don't need to vote or whatsoever to win elections. Secondly, my colleague.
I want to say that when you are a teacher, they bring the CPDM card for you, even if you are not from the party. They bring the card for you and for your family. They said you have to be from CPDM.
Madam Frioga, when you go in, you go in for the vote, you are alone, and then you are conscient and everything. You are free to vote whosoever you want, with the card of a political party or not. Yes, it is not what determines what you are going to put in the ballot box. And I would like to say here that, because my co-panelist from the CRM was taking examples of the far north region and the northern regions, where that is why I would like to say people should not with a certain type of amalgam It is not a matter of a political party or whatsoever. We know culturally, countries, culturally.
Used to say, but it's
no,
not true.
I thought you were more educated than others, and you don't talk about.
Just
Yes.
Yeah, we are in a conclusive phase already.
That is what I would just like to say. Culturally, we know in the Sahel zone, it's not only in Cameroon, the Sahel of Cameroon, being it in Niger, the Chad, and those Saheli areas, culturally, parents will be willing to send a child in a jungle day, in a Quranic school,
to send him to a regular school.
Than to send him, yes, in a regular school. Whether we like it or not, those are reality.
Okay.
Those are realities, and whether we like it or not,
whether we like mandatory to a certain age. So if you are in a
school is free. School is free
and it's mandatory. School is in Cameroon.
It is free. Primary school is free.
In Cameroon, it said school is mandatory and free till a certain age. It means when you have region where parents do not send their children to school, the government has failed, because the government is the ruler. The government is here to make sure everything. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not an excuse about culture. It is about the failure of our governance.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Kaigama, I think we're going to we're in the conclusive phase right now.
Okay,
just briefly, and then we shall be leaving.
Again, we are experiencing lies. You know, when we talk about CPDM, it's always lies.
Let's go
lies
really fast, because we are.
For those who are watching us today, just acknowledge that they have been lying to you. Children want to go to school, but your parents can't afford just schooling. Okay, this is what you need to know, and this is what they have been telling you. They don't like school. You're not in the Sahel. This is no.
And they
it's
even
a
loot
lie.
the money, the budget that are sent to build
And
schools.
it's also
they loot all the money.
It's also because the government want ignorant people. They want ignorant generations, because they want them to be knowing nothing, so that they can manipulate them. And we are telling to Cameroonians who are watching us today that the CPDM has failed, and you have to acknowledge that. Go and register, get enrolled on our electoral rolls, and be prepared. I'm very proud of my co-panelists from the CPR, and very proud of her. I think we have a lot of good things that we share, and Cameroonians, you are away, so it's over to you. Thank you,
Mr. Ismail Kaigama from the CRM party, for joining us today, and your point of views definitely were very pertinent. I would not even say even more pertinent of the lady on my left side here. I would have loved her to be on my right side, though. Thank you very much, Pati Bebe, for joining us. And honestly, I'm sure that the rebroadcast of this program is going to awesome. Yes, I'm already saying it's a secret. It's going to be rebroadcast, because I might not be here next weekend. Thank you so much also, Mr. Jikab Yakubu, for joining us from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement. It was such a great pleasure having you all here today. A last word from the ladies before we conclude.
Well, I just want to say to Cameroonian, we have the choice of what we need. We have to stand for what we believe in, and we have to stand for our nation. What is happening in Western Africa concerns us, because it's not only about Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. It's also about the Guinea Gulf, because the imperialists will not leave us alone if we are not standing for our sovereignty. So we have to focus, just like one people in Cameroon, speak one word, which is about replacing the party that has been too long here, looting us, killing us, raping us, and making that our fellows Cameroonians do not feel comfortable in their own country.
And that's what Voice It is all about. So thank you, dear televiewers, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for this other edition. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you on this set. It's every Saturday at 3 p.m. exactly, and don't miss the coach, don't miss the rendezvous. Great pleasure to be with you once again. I hope that you follow all the programs that are going to continue on La Télévision du Monde. We are broadcasting live, of course, we are only on Canal Sat 308. Have a nice weekend, and see you next week.